Hey, come catch this wave with the Fixx squad. The Fixx is in. I'm Mr. Soul, I'm tuning in. What you doing?
Stand up. James left, but the king still reigns here. No tears, no love lost, no rain here. Delivers, I promise, Santa rain here. Love for the city still resides here. Fix for your ailment, faith that resides outside the lines. Detox your mind, cause it matters. Art outside the box, we pace better. The Fixx is in, and we rock a channel. We rock with them for what's deep within. Expose those who talk but don't live. Expose those who talk but don't live. Take offense. Judge by the fruit from the tree, but if the fruit tastes...
Yes, sir. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble. You tap back into the Fixx right here on Siriusxm, channel 154, Holy Culture Radio. And it's time for our spiritual detox. And listen, you guys, when I tell you guys are in for a treat today. It's very, every so often, Dice and I get a chance to talk with, when you talk about people who have been so just not only cultivating, but also just worship pastors. Yeah, I'm going to call them a worship pastor. For the generation that deserves to have worship at a high level. Let's be very clear. This man of God has been doing music for 25 plus years. He has countless number one hits. I think it's about 17 or 18 number 30. One radio hits. Is it 30? I'm sorry, 30. It doesn't matter. The streams are off the hook, millions and millions of streams. Stop it. He's a platinum recording artist, a Grammy award winning artist, and he has just been doing so many powerful things for the kingdom. Let's be very clear, for a very, very long time. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome in Chris Tomlin. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing, that's quite an intro. I need can I just call you every morning and just
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And I'll hold you to that. Listen, I'll give you my number right now. We can call it and listen, I need you to pray for me and worship,
right.
And yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you intros every morning.
Intros.
Y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesome. Y'all have already made my day. Thank you so much. That's quite a kind intro, man. Thank you. Great to be with you today.
Thank you for giving us some time. Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing I love about you, Chris, we got so much to talk about with you. But you have been very transparent about your relationship, your marriage with you and Lauren, 12 years in now. I do want to ask, you're 12 years being married now. You have 3 beautiful baby girls.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many kingdom marriages crumbled during the pandemic? Because when I see you and I see Lauren, and you guys are very transparent about your marriage, and just, you guys really look like y'all really like each other. I ain't gonna talk about love. Like, it's not fake. It's like, no, this is a real thing. We really like and love each other. But we know during the pandemic, unfortunately, a couple years ago, we saw a lot of kingdom marriages crumble. Why do you think that was during the pandemic?
I think, it's a time where you couldn't hide from each other anymore, right? Maybe. And there was like, you're in it together. You're like, oh my goodness, dude. I think it's easy to live separate lives, and it's easy. And during the pandemic, that was taken away. And there's like, okay, what do we have together? What do we really have together? Lauren and I have really, we've done a lot of work on it. It's not that like, you don't just get married. I thought you just get married and it's all great, all easy. That's not the way it works.
That's not it.
And it takes a lot of work. Relationship takes a lot of work, a lot of communication, a lot of we've gone to counseling together and saying, let's help somebody else help us work these things out that we don't. I got married later in life. Everything's happened to me later in life. So I was coming in very independent, very away my world roles. And buddy, did that ever get turned on its head? And she's the best thing ever happened to me, because it's really someone who is everything, and every gift that I don't have, she seems to have. It's amazing how God did that and just put that together, like all these ways. And so during the pandemic, man, for us, it's been an amazing time, because it was an amazing time for family. It was a more solidifying time for us. But like you said, we live in it's so easy to just be in separate lives. And I think that is isolation and living separate lives and being kind of isolated from each other, emotionally, all the things is just recipe for things falling apart. And so it's you got to stay connected. You got to stay like really, and thankfully, my wife's someone who just steps right into anything that's not happening well, anything that's not going right. She's going to talk about it. And for me, I like to just like, let's just sweep it under the rug. I kind of grew up in a like a family where you just sweep everything under the rug. She grew up where we're going to talk about it no matter what it is. I'm like, oh, geez, do we really need to talk about this right now? And so that's been an incredible thing, because nothing is allowed to be more than it needs to be.
I love that. And thank you for answering that. And this is a family show. So I want to ask my family question. Pastor Chris, you have three. Okay. So you have three daughters and you have a wonderful wife. And you weren't always married and you didn't always have these children. So can you tell me, what has God shown you concerning women or young ladies that you didn't know before you had all this all this fun around you?
I love that you asked that question, because I only had brothers growing up too. So my whole family was just boys, and now I have all girls. And it's like God's like, I'm going to show you things you know not of, boy. And so there's so much I say it each night on my concert. There's a lot of, I got 3 girls. I'm a girl dad. I always have people raise their hand. Who's girls' dads in here? There's a lot of emotion going on in the house, and someone's crying at all times, and it's usually me. That's what I say.
Priceless.
That's good.
So, that's what I usually say. And so, but I know I love the man. I didn't, when my first daughter came, I was like, oh man, okay. And then the second daughter came, then third daughter. It's like, wow, okay. And I couldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love my girls. I love their tender hearts. I love that they are completely not interested in anything that I was interested in. And so growing up, I've tried to like steer to like, well, what about soccer? Or what about something with the ball? Something like, no, we want to draw, we want to paint, we want to dance, we want to like, and so it's special. And it's just, it's to me, it is about really being attentive to their hearts and their desires and what they love, and just going after that. And it's easy because I love that. And it's the best thing. It's the greatest thing is having these little girls. And, we're in that stage. I have a 2-year-old. So we have 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Our 11-year-old's Ashlyn, Matt, 8-year-old's Madison. My 2-year-old is, we should have named her Surprise. But her name is Elle.
I love it.
She is our little surprise baby, and I'm telling you, just that so we're still in the we got out of diapers and all the things, and now and sold our strollers and gave our things away, and now we're asking for them all back. We had to get our crib back, strollers back. It's like, hey, we didn't mean that. Please give those back to us, because
That's
so
awesome.
It's been fun, but man, I just thank you for asking me about them, because they're the treasures of my life for sure.
Yeah, I have 3 sisters, so that's why I wanted to know. all girls. Yep, daddy's girl right here. Yep, all day. Wouldn't have it any other way. Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it too as well, and I'm going to tip my hat to you too as well. I only have 1 daughter and 1 wife, and I can only imagine what you go through in your household with 3 babies and a wife that are all females. So I'm praying for you.
Come on, DJ.
Come on.
Can you talk a little bit about, you and your wife Lauren have a nonprofit for others? Can you tell the people what exactly that is, and then what inspired you and your wife to even start this nonprofit?
Yeah, the kind of 30,000 foot view is that we believe every child deserves a loving home, a loving family, and it breaks your heart when you find out, when you see that what's going on around. And I saw, kind of was awakened to what's going on in our own backyard, in our own country, in our own nation with children, and I saw this, and you guys this will make sense to you. There's any given year, 2023, this year there's 420,000 kids in the foster care system in our nation. And this blew my mind that in America, there's a little over 420,000 churches in our nation.
Wow.
And I thought that's so interesting that the number is the same. There's the same amount of churches that there are kids in our foster care system that need family, that need home, that need a place, that have been abandoned or have not with their parents for whatever reason. Either their parents can't raise them or their parents don't want to raise them or whatever. And it's heartbreaking. And I thought, well, but the church is the answer to this. Yeah. This is the church is already set up. There's the same amount of churches that there are kids in our nation. I thought that's interesting. So I thought that's who I talk to every night at church. So we started this organization to like just bring awareness and solutions to this issue with churches and how churches can get involved and help kids in their own community, in our own backyard. And so there's lots of need all over the world. There's lots of massive need all over this world of children. But I thought, okay, what can I do in the cities that I go to? When I'm in Houston, when I'm in Chicago, when I'm in Cleveland, when I'm in New York, when I'm in Florida, wherever, how can I leave a deposit there in those communities for kids that need a family? And that's the heart of it. It's called For Others. It's forothers.com. If you want to find more information about what we're really doing, the weeds of how we do it and the practical things that we're doing. But it's been something that really God just awakened me to. He gave me a dream in the night about it. And honestly, and then my brothers like I said, I have brothers, and they've all started taking children in their families. And it's been incredible work.
Wow. Well, we thank you for doing it. God bless you for doing it. We're definitely praying for you and your whole team concerning, and we'll definitely make sure that we have that information on our side over here available for others as well. So thank you for caring about that. I want to know a little bit about the music over here. You have been in the music game for a long time, and I personally consider you the #1 outpourer in Christian music.
Facts.
And period. Like just a period on the end of that. I mean, it's unbelievable who you are. I'm not trying to cue up a song or anything. Have you ever had a sense of who God has really called you to be? I mean, I feel like you truly are a friend of God, but have you ever really seen a picture of that, or has God really ever spoken to you concerning anything like that?
I feel grateful every day. I feel it's a privilege of my life. I always say this, privilege of my life to hear stories about how these songs have been used in people's lives. I never would have dreamed this. It wasn't something I was looking for. I had a guy when I was 18 years old. The very first thing I ever did, he said 2 things, Chris. He goes, "You have no idea what you're doing." I was like, "Well, thank you for that." And he said, "Secondly, you have no idea how God's going to use your songs in the world." And I looked at him and said, "I don't have any songs." He said, "Yeah, but I've been praying that I guess God has impressed on me that you're going to write songs and the whole world's going to sing them." And he put his hand on my head. He standing there and put his hand on my head and he said, "God, would you make Chris a psalm writer for his generation?" And it was like lightning went through me. And it was a marking moment in my life. And it's been this journey ever since of just this calling. I've always felt like this calling. I've always felt like I had a sensitive heart to God. I never knew where it would be. When I was a kid, I didn't know it'd be in music, but I always wanted to follow God even as a kid. But I just been on this journey of just of this calling, of living out this calling, and then just having this opportunities with these songs and with writing these songs, and would never dream they'd find their way to what and how they have helped people and connected to people. And so, I feel like what I know is I'm not the best at it. I'm not the best songwriter. I'm not the best singer, not the best artist, but what I've come to know is that the scripture says that the man looks on the outside, but God looks at the heart. And I think that God is not looking for the person who's got the most talent, who's got everything together, who's got it all together. It's the perfect package. God is looking for those who has a heart. The scripture also says that the eyes of the Lord move about the whole earth, that he may strongly support those whose hearts are completely his. And I felt from a young age, I had this heart that wanted to follow God. And I think for some reason, God's like, I'm gonna use you. I come from a very, very small little town of nothing. Nobody, my family's in music, nothing. And if you'd have told me, we had one red light and one Dairy Queen in my town, that was it. And it's very small little, and you would never think there'd be a lot of opportunity, but I started writing songs in just into college and for my Bible studies, and they started finding their way. I don't even know how. There was no agent, there was no record company, there was no publisher, there was none of that stuff. It was just somehow, I always say the Holy Spirit was my best agent, because he took these songs and put them where they needed to be, and just been kind of following that ever since. But that's just I'm as amazed as anybody. I look back and go, wow, this is God's story, because I could never done this.
That's
Well,
good.
listen, yeah, it's so good. We thank you for listening to what God told you to do, submitting to him and
Yeah.
listening, because you have been blessing our lives and millions of people's lives for a long, long time. So we just want to give you your roses and just thank you and acknowledge,
Yeah.
yes, you have been used by God in a powerful, powerful way. And it's
Yep.
just mind blowing, seriously.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Listen, DJ Focus, Dice Gamble, we have the legendary worship pastor, Chris Tomlin, on the line. We got to go to a quick break. We're coming right back. Keep it locked. You tuned into The Fixx.
And the Fixx is in.
Holy Culture Radio. We're not just background noise. We play the music that inspires you, because every song has a story. Christian hip hop and R&B music and talk on Siriusxm channel 154, 24 hours a day. Holy Culture Radio is changing the game. Discussions about faith, arts, vocation, and education. We talk about the real issues that affect our communities and work together to find solutions. Join the discussion at holyculture.net and be heard.
Yes, sir. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble. You tap back into The Fixx right here on Siriusxm channel 154, Holy Culture Radio. We're still having a great conversation with the worship pastor himself, the legendary Chris Tomlin. So let's talk about it, Chris. Jesus Calling, season 3.
Come on.
When you talk about faith and stories, and Dice and I were inspired by just the whole series itself, because we like to have these conversations with just different believers, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, entertainers, anybody who has a faith story or a faith journey that they want to share. Talk to us about, everything. Season 3, you being a part of it, what it means to you.
Yeah, this is really cool to host this, because it was something different than I've ever gotten to do. It wasn't me playing music or playing songs. I got to be a host, and a host of stories, of people's stories. And like you said, that's what I'm drawn to. When I read books, I just read biographies. I love stories. I love people's stories of people who've done incredible things with their life, and especially those who have given their life for God's kingdom and done amazing things for the Lord and his work. And so this was a no-brainer when they said, would you host this, all these stories? And I know and so I got to do that. And there's so many incredible people in this season that you'll hear about from just all, I could go down the list, but that's amazing people that you'll hear their stories. And everybody has this incredible God story in their life. And I think we need that. If we ever need that, unfortunately, that's not what most networks and streaming agencies, that's not what they're putting up there. Hey, look at all these amazing people's stories. It's usually, we live in a really dark world. We live in a dark, hurting world. And I think that a brokenness, and a lot of times that's what's spotlighted in our culture. And I think what an incredible moment to say, we're actually going to spotlight the light. We're spotlighting light here. We're spotlighting in the midst of darkness. We're spotlighting people who are bringing light to this world, bringing hope to so many people who are hopeless and so much despair and hurt. And this is bringing hope for people who've gone through despair, people who've gone through hurt, people who know what it is to be at the bottom, and for God to bring them out and to spotlight that. And I'm like, sign me up. So I was a host for getting to do that. And this Jesus Calling season 3. So very honored.
Wow. I wanted to ask you if you have seen any comparison concerning what Jesus Calling can do for someone who has actually been on Jesus Calling, you know, like, did they have an experience by having that personal, you know, experience, being able to share their story? Like, have you gotten any feedback from someone who said, man, I never really knew how much it mattered, you know, like the story share part? Because I do know you've had some fantastic people on the show.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I haven't really got that, but I can tell you that I shared my story. I kind of hosted myself on one of the series of this season, and so it'll be interesting to see maybe what this response I get from that, and how people who may not know my story be like, oh wow. And I think anytime you share your story, it's going to lift people up that you had no clue, because you don't realize, man, I think how much people are going through the similar things, and they're going through, and you think this must be me, but that's not the truth. And so many people, when people are vulnerable and say, I went through this, and this is, and this is me, the good and the bad, and then I think that just opens up other people to go, I'm the same, and that just helps people so much. So looking forward to that in this season.
We are too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to it. Can you talk about the pressure of being a believer, a Christian in the music industry, and everything that goes with that? Because, like, I have to believe, and we know we're in the industry too as well. You know, some shows you go to, some things you do. Sometimes somebody might not treat you as kind as they should, or let's be very clear, maybe a little disrespectful. Like, how do you handle those pressures of those situations? Because of course we're trying to always speak in love and make sure we show off Christ. But let's be very clear, we're human too, and especially as men, it's only so much you can do or say that before we lose it, especially when you talk about protecting our families and things. So I'm just curious to know, how does Chris deal with the pressures of being a believer in the music industry altogether?
It's an interesting thing, especially when you're, when I'm in my world, like and when I'm in the church or whatever, it's one thing, because people are they're tracking with you. But for a lot of places that God opens up the doors to, which I'm so grateful for, like, I've gotten opportunities to be in places that completely do not get me. They completely do not understand. They are even hostile to it, and it's funny. I'll be in those places and I'll get stuff. I'll post something about it. People will just social media, like, why are you with these people? Why are you hanging out with these people? And I'm like, I would just want to, I never defend myself on that kind of stuff, because there's no point. But I'm just, talking between us. I'm like, why wouldn't I be in places that don't get me? I mean, where I'm not Jesus, but where was he? No one got him. And he was not afraid to be in places that were like even hostile towards him. But yeah, that's to share the love, to share the light in the midst of places that maybe have no clue what you're talking about. That's the places I love. And to be misunderstood. I mean, I can't be too mad that I can't be too upset that I'm misunderstood, because there's no one been more misunderstood than the person I'm singing about and following. And that's just the truth. And so that's just part of what this is. That's part of it, for me. But so I don't shy from it, but obviously I don't love it. Like you said, I don't love it, but I don't shy from it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're out here. As we say, we're out here in these streets, and it's needed. It's really, really needed. One of the questions I have for you is, how do you support and maintain your mental health? I know that you are definitely, a man of God. So I know you're constantly, in your faith, but just your mental health as you're traveling and you're juggling different adventures and things like that, and managing your family.
Yeah, that's that's the hard, the travel is the being away, and the on the move, and kind of being on in front of and with people is the challenging part of this, of this world. I love the moment of playing music, man. If I could just be transported to just play music and not have to do all the other things of like, of being gone from my family, all the things, that would be amazing. But for me, I mean, I've just had an incredible, unfortunately, I'm on the road with an amazing team that we've had forever. It's not just me by myself. I think the mental health thing, I think that is when you get isolated and you isolate yourself from others and you're just like, and you kind of have this, the more isolated you get, the more internal and the more issues come. And so for me, having a team that we've been together for a long time and connected to people in that way, it keeps me in a great place. Obviously above, like you said, nothing keeps you more in the place than faith, than being grounded, than the hope that we have, than being in God's word, than being reminded to, when you wake up in the morning, being reminded of who you are and who he is, and prayer, and in those things, nothing takes the place of that. But in a real practical place of not being isolated, not just saying, hey, I'm going to put people around me and no one can connect with me, then that would be a massive problem. So I'm just not like that. I like being in the mix, with people. And
that's good.
No, that is good. And that makes sense. Going back to Jesus' calling, unfortunately, at times the church can be very judgmental. I love the fact that, in the midst of you having these conversations and allowing for these different people to share their faith journey with you and faith stories with you, do you think the church has hindered the process of more people coming forth and being able to be vulnerable and share their faith journey or struggles or anything that they're going through because of the judgment compared to building relationships and accountability?
Yeah, that's a great question. And hopefully that is, hopefully in this coming, I feel like in this, especially in the coming generation, and I feel like that those walls are coming down, and I feel like people are just they just want real.
Yeah.
People just want real, and like that, and that's what they're drawn to, is especially in leadership, is people who are real and aren't just up. I think all of the facade of just this this Christianity that's about having it all together seems to continue to be falling apart in a good way, and and people saying, I'm broken, and I have a lot of problems and a lot of things that are hard in my life, and being able to be vulnerable with that in the church, and not be and being a place. You've always heard it, that the church church should be a hospital, right? Not a country club. And it should be a place for people who have great need. And Jesus, that's who Jesus was all about. That's who he went to. And so I'm hoping, like you said, I'm hopeful that it's a place where more and more people can be vulnerable and real. And with this show, Jesus Calling, you see that over and over in the episodes. You see the same story of people just like, this is what the struggle of my life, this is where it brought me. These some decisions I made that weren't great. And yet God's grace picked me up and gave me another place, gave me another place to stand, and a place to, to be, to walk in him. And so that's what I'm hoping for.
Listen, amazing. We thank you for just being who you are. Like I say, we definitely want to continue to salute you for just being a beacon of light and doing what God has caused you to do. We thank you for this opportunity this morning to talk with you. This is great. Dice, I know, the whole interview we've been fanning. So we just want to. No, seriously, that is.
I was saying it yesterday.
Come on now.
No,
listen, he knows he had, like, your worship songs are worldwide. Like, this is not a joke. Like, everybody's church who really wants to go into a place of worship has 2 or 3 of your songs that they sing into as well, along with everybody else's. Like, it's a regular. Like, it's a regular.
It's a regular.
Well, you're very, very kind, and I appreciate you guys. You're so kind, and great to talk to you today. And
Absolutely.
y'all have a great presence about you as well. So thankful. I'm great to be on your show.
Hey, Chris,
No problem.
we can't let him out of here without asking the group question.
Oh my goodness.
Let's
I
go.
don't even think he could probably narrow it down.
Let's
He's done
go,
so many
Chris.
collaborations. Last question. I'm gonna let you go. If you could build your own super group with two artists, I'm gonna give you two, because if I give you three, that'd be too much.
That's
Two
too much.
artists, dead or alive, any genre, what two artists would you pick to join your super group?
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I'm gonna need Chris Martin from Coldplay, because I need him. I don't know, but I need him to. I need him to come.
I need him
to come full circle with God. I need him to have because I mean, I've gone to a couple of their concerts, and I feel like I'm so emotionally moved by this, whatever they're doing. I don't know what it is, how they do it, but this is insane. And so if I could do something with him, and then gosh, I would probably, I've already got, or if I could just tour with my, God, I don't even know. I'm just going to say, let's just ask Chris if he would, if God would, if he would take all his talent and just start writing songs of worship. We could do that together. That's what I'm into.
That's amazing. Listen, Chris, tell the people how they can follow you on all your social media platforms. Tell them about your tour, and also tell them about the release of season 3 of Jesus Calling.
Yeah, so season 3, Jesus Calling. Check it out, Jesus Calling season 3. I get to host all these stories. You can check me out at Chris Tomlin on all the socials, or my website, christomlin.com, our foundation for others.com for kids. And our tour right now is Stories of Worship, where I just tell stories of all these songs over the years, and it's been really fun. So thank you guys.
The legendary Chris Tomlin. Keep it locked. You tuned into The Fixx.
And The Fixx is it.